Stand up, go ahead, tell everybody thank you that you got enough guts to admit nothing was perfect.
I just put an offer on a property that's bank owned and no response. Week goes by, no response. Call them up. Well, we haven't heard anything from the bank is all we can get back until the listing goes away. They went to share a sale. Call them up and yell at them. Now what? So that's my dilemma right now at this point. Are they not supposed to?
Who's got a thought?
No,
You got a thought about what had to say? Somebody's got to have an
Well,
opinion.
if we put a 2-day, respond within 2 days on the contract, aren't they supposed to respond?
All right, there's a technicality. I'll answer that as a realtor, not under any penalty of law or oath. But as a realtor, a seller is not required by law or even convention or custom anymore to have to respond to an offer unless they choose to. Now, this is particular of an offer that you have made with a condition. And I don't care what the price was, you gave them a condition they had to respond in 2 days. This is how a seller can push himself away from your offer, do whatever dance around the offer and the deal that they want to do, all right? And this is how that seller can postpone having to respond to your offer, because it was conditioned. And as you put an offer in with a price, you put an offer in that you want this time or so many days for inspection, and you don't know who it is you made the offer to, and you haven't had them confirm to you that they got their offer, that's often as good as no offer. Yeah.
I'm in the same exact situation. Pardon me. In the same exact situation, and then tomorrow morning, so December 3rd, I put an offer in. No response, no response.
Right.
We get some verbals back and forth. Tomorrow, actually, they come back to me and say that, hey, we've received another offer. That, whether they have or not, I don't know whether they can lie to me.
Yes.
I think they can. Right?
They can.
Because they want me to jump.
Or they can obfuscate.
Which is essentially.
Well, that's a legal opinion.
Now,
they can obfuscate and understand you're trying to deal in exactitude, and you're dealing with people who are using your very language and your very time frame against you.
It goes to, so they come back and tell me that, and then this was this week again, they finally get back to me. So I counteroffer, or I offer more. I really want this house. It is going to auction tomorrow morning at 10. I was told by the auction, I called the auction company, and they said, hey, we've seen these pull off at 9:30 if they're going at 10. But essentially, that's all the information I have. Now, my question to my realtor is that, hey, I'm trying to find 2 or 3 other properties. Am I bound now by either my first or second offer? Can they come back? I didn't give them any earnest money. Can they come back and say, oh, hey, this went through auction. We accepted your offer.
There's a technicality that is often used and enforced efficiently both for and against you in this type of situation. Technically, if I'm understanding, you didn't actually give any consideration. You may have sent over a fax copy of your earnest money check, but I'm not supposed to hear that customary. But no funds were actually received and then put into an earnest money account. There's argument on both sides, depending on what other issues of paperwork and presentation, that there is no deal. So, there's one way you can
still want the house.
Well,
at least I'm not bound by it though when they come back.
You still want the house, but now they can only sell it to you, even if they come back for some kind of situation at exactly your terms that you presented to them. Any change or variance from those terms now starts building your first set of defense walls against them.
What if they come back with my terms and say, hey, we're going to, everything that I've asked them in my contingencies, I can still back away because they missed my deadline of whatever, 48 hours.
Well, as you said,
okay, good.
I want the house. So we'll get the house.
We'll see what they're trying to get.
Sometimes in some deals, it's going to come down just to those couple of moments. depending on how long you follow all of the moments through with your persistence. And along the way, something will trigger. Some part of the deal will either trigger, okay, they're going to stop and get it done, and you'll be surprised. You go, I didn't think that was going to happen. Or you'll fail.
Can it go through the auction?
And then come back to you?
Yes.
No. Then they've already destroyed your terms by taking it into a different route.
So tomorrow at 10 a.m., getting back on.
Or
All
not.
new terms, yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. You're,
Okay,
you're
good.
there or not.
That's good and bad. At least I know. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
John, just to frame this up, in both cases, do I understand this is an attempt to short sale a house from the bank?
Yes,
Yeah.
mine is, yes.
Okay.
But then, you know,
And that was mine as well, and they said the bank went to the sheriff's sale and bought it back, so now they've got it again. Maybe someday they'll go list it.
my particular case was, I sent it in, the owner of the home actually signed off on it and said, hey, yeah, this is great, let's get it on. And then the bank has to approve it at that point, and
Yeah.
that's where, boom.
That means
The realtor
that means
is dying to
diddly.
get it sold, obviously.
That means diddly now in this market. So let's explain what's going on here. All right? These guys, anybody in here that's trying to do a short sale as a buyer, you put this offer in, whether through your realtor or on your own. And short sales can be grabbed a couple of different ways. Sometimes they're by a real estate agent. Sometimes they're by a real estate company. You get a real estate agent going through a short sale, odds are this year, up until this year, 90% of them have never had to represent the buyer. And what they weren't able to convey to you clearly was that they are at the mercy, handcuffed, chained to whatever the bank says, and can change their terms at any minute. And do. And don't care a whit about you and your offer. Now, the agent gets that news unexpectedly. That agent hasn't had to deal in that social economic situation up until this year. Now each of them have horror stories in their office, and they're a lot more experienced. But we're just going to see a whole mess of that this year because socially, more people are going to go into short sale quicker now, faster over the next 5-10 years. That's part of our lexicon.
And just a heads up, I know 2 or 3 realtors really well who kind of track down these type of houses for me. They won't touch them. They don't want to because they drag out 2-3 months. Their marketing
Your
costs,
other option
their
is to
time.
look at a property that has already gone through the process where the bank and their lawyers have said, we have to buy it back at the sheriff's sale for this much money because we got this much into it, okay? We're going to take a beating. How bad do we want to get beat? So they start their bookkeeping off at one price. It's called a BPO, broker price opinion. Unfortunately, the way the multiple listing or BLC system is set up is that in order to get an opinion of an area, the data that's pulled back and given to the realtor is the data that's everything that's sold in that area. It does not differentiate between distressed and non-distressed properties. And it is not available on the BLC, so you don't know, you're able to tell the bank, other than your work, your comparison, that HUD home down the block and that other repo sold for these prices. When you have that kind of data, okay, you can deal with that a little better because then you can start comparing per square foot prices. Here's what distressed properties in this neighborhood are going for. Here's how many there have been in the last year. And here's that cost per square foot, which is helpful to you when you need to go back and you want to prove a property you bought, what your square footage was for your tax assessments. Because that's going to be a big, I think, relief this year. I think it's going to be a big relief. And we're going to see that happen. And these people are going to come here and talk to you. But when you deal with the banks that have so many of the foreclosures, they can change their mind and will at a day's time. I've been at both ends of the transactions. They scare me. I'm always nervous. It's a pain to have to call the client and say, I'm sorry, because the bank contract will always say, subject to corporate approval.